Welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. I'm your host, Tony Fry. Today, we are talking about a early Kinks hit called Everybody's Gonna Be Happy. But first, I want to remind you that our New Year's Day episode is going to be on Waterloo Sunset. And I know this song has a place in a lot of Kinks fans' hearts. It's a beloved song, and I want to get your thoughts and opinions and what it means to you. So give me a call, 925-494-1739, and leave me a voicemail that I can play on the podcast. Or you can send me an email, kinksandbeats@herohabit.com, or you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Hero Habit. But I want to hear your thoughts on that song in particular. And of course, if you want to reach out about any other Kinks or Beatles song, please do so. Use those links, those emails, that phone number, and reach out. But I haven't recorded the New Year's episode yet, and I'd really like your thoughts on this tune. So moving on. Everybody's Gonna Be Happy. Released March 19th, 1965. This tune, a lot of the early Kinks material is, the riff-based stuff of You Really Got Me, Tired of Waiting, All Day, All the Night. There's a lot of riff-based stuff. And this song, it's groove-based. It definitely has a groove. It doesn't really have a riff, although it's still distinctly, there's no mistaking this for any other band. And the guitars are doing some cool groove stuff in the background. This song, though, belongs to Mick Avery. The drum work on this tune alone should qualify him for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He is doing some just fantastic stuff, and other drummers get credit for being busy and inventive and hitting 1,000 drums a measure. But Mick kind of did it quietly in the background and doesn't get the credit he deserves. And I've said it before, I will say it again. We have a lot of songs to cover on this podcast. I am not done talking about what a great drummer Mick Avery is. But listen, it's hard to hear sometimes in this mix. It's a mono mix. It's not, I don't think, the greatest mix. I would love to hear some of these earlier tunes mixed a little differently, although it might be too late. I don't know. But his drum work on this is just on fire. He is just a ball of energy and locked into that groove. And it's one of those things that good rock bands can do where you've got this groove and it's very loose and just on the verge of falling apart, and yet it's still tight and together and cohesive at the same time. And you can hear the guitars kind of responding to some of Mick's snare work because he throws in these little press rolls and stuff like that all over the place. So when you're listening to this tune, and I know some of you listen before or after you listen to this podcast, when you listen to this one, really focus in on the drums. It's fantastic. The song charted at number 17 in the UK, which was a bit of a disappointment for the band because it ended a streak. Up to that point, they had 12 consecutive top 10 hits. So this would have been number 13, but it was not to be for whatever reason. Now, I want to walk you through the timeline here. Tired of Waiting for You, which we've already done a podcast about, was released on January 15th, 1965. 3 months later, Everybody's Gonna Be Happy is released March 19th, 1965. Now, can you imagine neither of these songs appearing on, So Tired of Being With You is, Tired of Waiting, is on one of the albums. The band released 2 albums this year. Kinda Kinks comes out in March. Kinks Controversy comes out in November. So we've got 2 albums. We've got 2 hit singles. That should be enough, right? It's not. This gap between Tired of Waiting in January and Everybody's Gonna Be Happy in March 19th, 65, almost exactly 3 months later, 3 months and 4 days, is going to be the longest gap between singles of the year. Set Me Free comes out May 21st, which is almost 2 months to the date after Everybody's Gonna Be Happy. See My Friends comes out July 30th, 2 months after. Well Respected Man comes out September, 2 months later. Till the End of the Day comes out November 19th, 2 months later. So, in the course of 1965, the Kinks released 2 full albums, and Tired of Waiting for You, Everybody's Gonna Be Happy, Set Me Free, See My Friends, Well Respected Man, and Till the End of the Day as singles, which all had B-sides, incidentally. That is a crazy release schedule. Could you imagine today Radiohead putting out a single every 2 months with a B-side? So 2 songs every 2 months to hold you over from between 2 full-length albums, bookending the year, March and November. That's incredible. No band would do that these days. And bands like the Beatles and the Kinks and the Stones were doing it constantly in these early days of the British invasion. They were so afraid of slipping out of relevancy because there's so much good music happening. And the industry seems so fickle, and I think they didn't want to repeat what had happened with the 50s, where you've got, Chuck Berry and Fats Domino and Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and all these guys kind of falling out of favor fairly quickly, way before they should have. And then the rise of the teen bop Frankie Avalon type guys, right? I think they were really afraid of that. And this release schedule is just crazy to me. So that's a lot of singles. In America, this song was actually flipped with the B-side, which is Who'll Be the Next in Line. So that song was the A-side, and then Everybody's Gonna Be Happy was the B-side. What's interesting about this tune is the key. It's I guess you could call it B flat, although it's really more in the key of F. Starts with a B flat 7. These are not chords you usually play on guitar, so my guess is that either the guitars were out of tune, or maybe they capoed it when they wrote it. But this is not. And I know, and I know, and I know that everybody. And I know that everybody be happy as they can be. 'Cause I know. That's a hard part to sing because he's playing a B flat 7 chord. But the vocal is playing a flat 5. So you've got this F and an F flat at the same time. I can't play that on guitar. And so you've got this real dissonance. Cause I know. Let me tell you all the things I want to say. Then he switches the chords. A flat, everybody's gonna be happy. Which means you and me, my love. To E flat to G7 to C. Everybody's gonna be happy. Which means you and me, my love, and I know. So this is a very odd key to be doing a rock song in this period, and especially a song like this that is a lot of rhythm guitar. So it's a cool one. I like that flat 5 that he does on the 'Cause I Know. And I think he actually does kind of bend it up to hit the 5. So it's not a true flat 5 over 5. He's kind of just scooping into it and bending into it. But listen to Mick Avery's drum work on this tune. And then let me know if you disagree with me about how incredible of a drummer he is. It's good stuff. Again, call me 925-494-1739. Email kinksandbeats@herohabit.com. Follow me at Hero Habit on Twitter and the Facebook. And then visit Hero Habit to find links to the Spotify playlist so you can keep listening to all the songs we've covered, especially ones that maybe you don't know or you haven't dug into in a while. This might be a good way for you to take a deeper look into these catalogs than maybe you typically do, especially if like you're more a fan of the Kinks than the Beatles or vice versa. This might get you digging a little deeper, so give that a follow as well. All right, tomorrow is episode number 50, and we're going to a solo John song, and then you guys are not going to believe what Kinks song we're doing after that. I'm telling you, it's all random. It's all pulled at random, and this would definitely not have happened in the first 100 episodes if it wasn't random. All right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by HeroHabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. HeroHabit.com. Collect your heroes.